So, Jeff Passan, hi, because I know you're probably watching. Since last year, we discussed whether or not the Pittsburgh Pirates would be wise in trading Paul Skenes. And now, all of a sudden, it's a big story. What are your thoughts?
I 100%. He's watching this show and stealing your ideas and stealing our discussion points and now trying to cover them up as their own. We went back through the data and we saw his IP address. So it's fact.
Okay, none of this is true, of course.
No, but you never know. You never know what might have prompted that. You know, he could have saw it, could have actually watched it. Who knows? But the idea is, James, you had an incredible idea that they should trade him or that they should just start having these conversations, and we started talking about whether they should start having these conversations. And it's the reality of the situation when you have one of the best young pitching talents in Major League Baseball history, and he's just such a dominant force, and going out there last year and just killing everything with Rookie of the Year. This year he was following it up and just, 244, 62 innings pitch. He's striking out 62, which is incredible, which is exactly what you want to be doing. And he's been as dominant as ever, and he's getting better. And so these are the conversations when you start having that, and your team sucks, and you fired your head coach, and they have so many needs.
Yeah,
these are the type of things that you do. Now, I think it's early to be having these discussions unless you just get an absolute haul. But you have to start having these discussions. And again, who knows if the Pirates are even having these discussions with anybody, and the amount that it would even take to get them would be just insane.
Listen, you saw the haul that the San Diego Padres got or gave up when they acquired Juan Soto a couple of years ago. And this is a guy with even more service time.
Yes. I believe he's at 5 right now, including this year, 5 years of service time with a team.
Yeah, left. Yeah. So you're looking with a guy with a lot more service time. You're looking at a guy who, no matter what, is not going to get $700 million because you just don't give pitchers that kind of money long term. You're not going to sign him to 10 years, $70 million per. So if you actually put him on the market, you're going to get a crazy haul for Paul Skenes. And as we've seen, the Pittsburgh Pirates, they're not spending any money. In fact, they have spent the least of the revenue sharing. I think they're one of the most profitable teams in all of baseball because all the money that they get from profit sharing, from revenue sharing and all of that, they don't spend it. They just put it in Nutting's pocket. So if you are the Pittsburgh Pirates and you have this asset, and as we've seen, and as we've discussed many times, the way to build a team is through young hitting, not through young pitching. You get pitching later on when you actually need it, sort of like the Yankees did in getting Max Fried. It's a no-brainer for you to trade this guy now. And can you imagine if he goes into the World Baseball Classic next year, gets hurt, and all of a sudden they get nothing for him?
And currently, right now, they're 27th in total payroll. They're 22nd in the active 26-man roster payroll. Yes, the haul would just be insane. And it's something the Pirates have to start having conversations about. Jared Jones this week had Tommy John surgery, so he's going to be out for a full year. He's Paul Skenes-esque, like same kind of stuff, maybe not as dominant as Paul Skenes. And so you have to have these conversations. There's just the reality of where you are as a team and as a franchise. You're not going to be spending a whole ton of money. I think they should be spending a lot more than what they have been spending because the people in Pittsburgh, we know, will back winners. You get a team, you get some energy, and you get this thing rolling. They will back them. You got O'Neal Cruz, you have Brian Reynolds for years to come, and then you have some of these pitchers, and obviously Jared Jones, like we talked about, Mitch Keller, Bailey Falter, and Andrew Haney. Like, you've got some guys there that can pitch and can do stuff. You have some pieces there. They just need about 4 or 5 other pieces, and a Paul Skenes is the type of player that does that. Maybe you take him, maybe take a Paul Skenes, and you take a guy like Andrew Haney, who's been pitching really well right now, and you package them up into multiple teams, so you're not just like getting them all from one team, all their prospects. You get a couple different teams with their prospects. Maybe you move a Kutch because he's been playing okay. Maybe you do something else and you move a couple pieces to get a bunch.
Okay,
Like
so
IKF would be a good guy to move somewhere, right? He's 7 years. Like, he's not going to give you a whole lot of value. The guy's hitting 283. Move him and get value from multiple places, even though IKF's slugging is very low.
So first and foremost, I don't think there's any chance in hell that they're going to move Kutch. I think one of the deals that they made with Kutch is, listen, you come over here, you're going to take less money.
The final, like,
yeah, this is
sunset.
Yeah, we want you here.
I think if they get to a point and we're nearing the All-Star break, and this team is where it at, and a team who's in the running says, "Hey, we want it." I don't think there's a doubt. Kutch in a heartbeat will leave, and it's not about
hold on a second.
His love for Pittsburgh. It's more about the idea like you did what you're supposed to be here. You were here for the first half. You nailed it. Great job, and he knows that. Now go get a ring. And
let me ask you one question.
That's the proper way to send off your superstar.
Let me ask you one question though. If you're the Pittsburgh Pirates and you're interested in trading a guy like Kutch, do you talk to him first? Because does he deserve that respect?
Oh, that 1,000%. And but that's the conversation you have is Kutch. Obviously, we brought you in and you wanted to be here, and you've nailed it. You solid veteran, the presence. Fans come out here for you. We will keep you for the rest of the year. No even if, ands, or buts. But we have an idea here. There are teams out here that are interested in you, and your name has been we've been hearing it. We've told them, hey, we need to talk to Kutch because this is something that we deserve that respect. You've done everything possible. You've been the veteran. You're a good guy. Everybody here loves you. We want you. But you have a chance to go win a World Series title, and it's not going to be with us. Do you want that opportunity? And you leave it up to him. You say, hey, if you don't, like, it's not going to be, they're not going to get a whole lot for him.
No, they're not.
He's a bench guy. He's a role player. He's a guy to come in and be a veteran. He might play a huge integral part of winning a World Series title. You say, we want you, the best for you. We want you to win a World Series, man. Like, or if you don't, and if you're cool, we want to be here. We won't, no sweat off our bat. We would love you, and we're going to market the crap out of you, and you're the face.
Now,
but go for it.
Going full circle, though, going back to Skenes now, they don't have to do that with Paul Skenes. He hasn't earned that kind of respect. So you could trade him anywhere you want. And, we mentioned the trade between the Padres and the Nationals. What's a better team right now? Having Paul Skenes or having, let's say, Dylan Cruz and Mackenzie Gore and James Wood? Let's call it what it is.
Well, Paul Skenes hasn't earned the respect to have that type of conversation.
Right.
But Paul Skenes is definitely, if you want to build a culture and build an organization that really puts the players first, you have a realistic conversation with him about conversations that people have been trying to have. If people are calling, you have that conversation. Now, you do not, under any means, let Paul Skenes make that decision for you or push his opinion in one way or the other. But you do owe him. Sometimes that conversation goes a million miles, and you just say, "Hey, here's the reality of it, and this is what we're hearing." We're not necessarily playing with any of these conversations. No one's given us the value that you would ever be worth. But just so you know, people are calling. This isn't just like the Closers TV show, the Closers show talking about it. This is real teams and real conversations that teams are starting to have. No one's come even remotely close to your value. You keep doing your thing. But just so you know, this is happening. And if something happens, it's going to have to be game changing because we value you. And you don't, nobody, and we've talked about this, nobody is untouchable. There is not a player in Major League history that is untouchable for the right value. It just, none. It's just teams, for some players, can't come up with the value for them. That's the only difference. A Shohei Ohtani, the most valuable player in Major League Baseball history, probably behind Babe Ruth, probably number 2 behind Babe Ruth, he is tradable. 100%.
See, I wasn't thinking about Shohei.
Nobody has ever, there's no team that has the value enough to trade for him. You're telling me if they say, hey, we're going to give you Aaron Judge, and right now we're going to give you Aaron Judge and the rest of our entire pitching staff, the Dodgers go, yes.
Well, it's interesting because
that's the reality. Like, well, you know what? We'll give you all 20 of our prospects in the minor leagues and Aaron Judge, and some team goes, yes, because that's the reality. Like, but no one's really going to do that.
Right.
So, and by the way, we're going to give you $40 million a year. Yes, but no team does that. But that's the value it would take. That is the Ricky Williams effect, where you have to trade an entire draft for one player. So no, everybody has a value. It's just a lot of times nobody will go to that point to give you the value. Hey, Dodgers, we'll sell you our entire minor league system, and we'll sell you our best 2 players and our top 5 prospects. The Dodgers would have a really hard time turning that down because it's just money, and it's dollars and cents, and you will find the players because you have the money to get the next player. So it makes sense.
I just thought about the perfect trade between the Yankees and Dodgers where it's a win-win for both. You ready? Shohei Ohtani for Aaron Judge and Max Fried.
That's what I'm talking about. Like,
yeah, you could do that trade.
We can immediately go, no, Ohtani's not touchable. Oh, okay. All right. Well, here's the trade. We're going to give you, we're going to do a 3-team trade. We're going to give you Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, Max Fried. Yeah. Okay.
All right. But we've been talking about the possibility of Skenes getting traded. So I just wanted to go real quick around the league and take a look at some of the teams that could possibly be involved that have the money and the prospects to do it and have World Series aspirations, because obviously you're not going to make this unless you are a contending team and you think that this is the move that's going to win. So let's take a look. Yankees obviously will be on board. They have the money. They certainly have the need. I don't know if they have the prospects, but
they don't have prospects.
No, they don't have the prospects, but you could make a deal where you're giving up Dominguez, Volpe, a couple of minor leaguers that might get it done.
Nope.
All right. The New York Mets would obviously be interested. They have the prospects to do it. I know that for a fact.
They don't have enough prospects. They don't have 4 of them. They don't have 4 top 20 dudes. Like when we talk about the Padres trade with the Nationals, like those are 4 top 50 picks, 4 top 50 prospects. Mets don't have that.
But they do have enough young guys where you can make it work. Where if you do something like Jet Williams, one of their young pitchers, Mark Vientos, and a Brett Beatty, you're starting to talk there.
We're starting to have that conversation, yes, because that does change. That changes the Pirates. Look, it definitely changes.
Yeah. Let's just call it like it is. It's if he gets traded, the
Red Sox would be a real conversation.
Who's that?
The Red Sox.
The Red Sox would be a good conversation.
That's the conversation to have when you're talking about like Roman Anthony and you start going down this list. Like Mayer, is it Meyer?
Marcelo Meyer.
Yeah. Meyer, like again, like that's a conversation you start like going like, oh, like now the Pirates are listening.
And finally, the team that he would probably end up with, the Dodgers. They got the money, they got the prospects, and they have a need because their rotation is dead. They're just
not finally. I would say the Orioles.
The Orioles, but they're not going to make that move.
But they should. That's the move they should make, and that's the move. Like that's the move, and that's the one they got to wake up and go, yes. That's the one. This guy's no longer a prospect. He's the dude. Get rid of some of your prospects. Like you don't even have a place to play them.
Yeah. Hey, Jackson Holliday, Kobe Mayo, Grayson Rodriguez, and more. You're going to Pittsburgh.
What's great too is the number 2 prospect in all baseball is a right-handed pitcher with the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah.
Like you got the dudes. You just need something. So I don't want to trade him if I'm the Pirates. But when I'm looking at this, I'm going, I have this young pitching staff that is just insane in youth and stuff. And I've already lost one of them, the Tommy John. He won't be back until next year at the beginning of the year. I need to revamp this entire offense. And we've known this for 3 years now. And that's the one, Ryan Reynolds, when he signed that contract, we're like, awesome. This is the change. They're going to start signing these guys and actually like bringing in quality guys. And they just haven't done crap. And I love Ben Cherington. I am a Ben Cherington huge fan. I played for him when I was with the Red Sox. I worked for him with the Blue Jays. I loved when he went over there. And then he's just getting his hands cuffed by that owner. And it just, he can't do anything, but he wants to do stuff.
Well, you got Ben Cherington's phone number. Give him a call and tell him what to do.
I'm sure he'd love to hear that call.
He'd be like, "All right, Ben, it's David Arzo." Who? No. I'm sorry.
He won't be like that. He'll be like, "Hey, what's up? Hey, you should." He'll say hi. We'll have a great conversation. Then the moment I go, "Hey, I've got an idea. You should try," and then just to hang up.
So here's my next question. When you look at Paul Skenes, are you thinking he's the best pitcher in baseball right now?
No.